Okay, so we are back after some technical challenges. So we're missing the first 12 minutes of the show. Um, okay, but we're going to make this work. We're going to go. So I'm going to record this locally and I'll upload it to YouTube and all the podcast things, and yeah, it should be fine. Even if the stream doesn't work, we're here live in Discord rather than streaming in Discord. So I'm guessing the MSP Waves stream and the video and everything is not working, but we will make do with everything that's going on. So, uh, what we were talking about was my Deck 404 account rentals, and so just quick recap. Deck 404 owner who owns cards delegates to a gamer account. A player comes in, plays the gamer account, and then they split rewards. So I have 47 accounts running right now that are not optimized because I put them all together before collection power was implemented. I know it's been like 6 months, but I still haven't gotten to making all that work. And then I was starting to track things. So season 53, which was the most recent completed season, I made $236 in the form of 286,000 Dark Energy Crystals. And that represents a 10.6% annualized return. So not too shabby. And I think that it'll only go up from here because I'm going to spend a little bit of effort into making that whole thing better, by reallocating teams. So like I have like gold foil teams which have like 2 million collection power, but that are silver league, and I've got regular foil teams that are like 67,000 collection power, but the same levels. So I need to move some gold foils around to kind of even that out, because what I want is those silver league teams hitting into gold 3 and gold 2. I did say how many decks? 47 teams that I'm fielding right now, which is a lot, obviously, but that is because I am, number one aside from aggroed. But I put together this little chart for myself, which you guys might find interesting, and this is kind of secret information. So here we have basically collection power needed, and then the rewards, quest rewards, and then season rewards, and then what the expected chests per season are. And how the expected chests per seasons work is basically you have to take into account the fact that when the season reset happens, you go back 3 spaces. So if you are in gold 1, let's say, you get shifted back to silver 1 at the beginning of each season, and then you have to battle your way back up. So your top limit is based on both what kind of cards you have as well as the collection power. So I wanted to find out what is kind of the optimal range for chess versus collection power. And at the optimal one is at the very bottom with bronze 2. Basically that's just a starter pack and like one card. So the problem though, or sorry, not the starter pack, the summoner spell book. But the summoner spell book costs $10, so it's not very cost effective to field thousands of accounts. Although there are some low level bot networks that do that. So in the realistic range, what I think of it as is in the silvers, golds, diamonds, and champions. So you can see on that right hand column that those red areas in diamond 3, really gold 1 through champion 3, those are your lowest returns in terms of how much rewards you get versus the collection power you have to put into it. Now, collection power does not scale 1-to-1 with market value, but it's a good proxy, I think. So the kind of optimal areas is that silver 1, gold 3 range, which is a large part of what I am fielding in my teams. I've got a couple gold level accounts, gold league. I've got a few diamond league accounts. But Crypto Reaper says, I think I have 51 total. Not at my PC currently, but I only share with like 4 people splitting cards and deck. That's pretty good. 51's a lot. So yeah, I mean silver 2, silver 1. That's kind of optimal. So, I am trying to make sure that, I have teams that are Silver League and will get to Gold 3. And really, the only reason I'm doing that is because I have the gold foil cards to do it. So it's sort of already a sunk cost rather than, buying new stuff in order to, to, to get that running. So Crypto Reaper's saying he says he aims for Silver 2 usually, so that's a real good spot to be. Um, in terms of optimality. So if you're buying new in order to field these teams, then yeah, Silver 2, um, Silver, even Silver 3 can be great, on a cost basis. What this doesn't factor into though is the fixed cost of the Summoner Spellbook, because Hive power is super cheap. That's not really a big barrier to overcome as far as fielding those accounts, but the $10 for the Summoner Spellbook is a good chunk, especially because those lower leagues, you're getting fewer and fewer chests, so it takes longer and longer to recoup that $10 sunk investment. So personally, I like the Silver 2, Silver 1, Gold 3, that range. The problem with high-level cards is liquidating and transitioning a deck to a better spot. At least for me, so far, it isn't worth it. Yeah, liquidating is a problem. So that gets into kind of the broad aspect of what it is that you're doing. So, when you're combining these cards, it's a permanent function. So you are knowing that you're taking a hit on market value compared to singles. So the question is that, are you doing it for the long term, and will that make sense? And in the very long run, if and when you want to liquidate, then will those buyers be there to absorb them? And if the game grows and we have more and more users, then the answer is probably yes. If the game doesn't grow, then it's much harder. So like my collection, it's virtually impossible to liquidate. I would have to take such a huge haircut up front, especially if I want to do it all at once. That's rough. Because I'll bring up my peak monsters here. I don't know. The only time I really check it is on these shows. But let's see what we're dealing with at the moment. So 86. I could maybe beg aggro to take that for like half. you know, so liquidation is a problem. But in terms of cash flow, it's doing great. I have a good chunk of that. 36 million dark energy crystals. I have a good chunk of that delegated out and working for me. I have I forget what my personal playing is, but it's a bunch. Let's see if I go to cards. My collection power is 9 million of that. It's kind of ridiculous. So like a quarter of my more portfolio of cards there is tied up in my personal playing account, and that's because it's like alpha gold foil stuff. It's a little bit ridiculous there. Let's see. Let's bring up my legendaries just for funsies. So these are the guys that represent a good chunk of that 9 million. Those are just sitting there because otherwise they're impossible to sell and use, which goes to Crypto Reaper's liquidation point. It's just, it is what it is. If we get 10x the users, then I think I'll be able to sell them no problem. Quantum Rancher says that's like 20x of his. Yeah, I'm literally number one outside of Aggroed, and I don't think Aggroed counts because people buy packs, and then some of that money goes to Aggroed, and he uses some of that money to buy packs himself. So it's kind of recirculating, I guess. But anyway. So for external people, I have the largest collection as far as I'm aware, anyway. So that is to be expected. But yeah, so 10% annualized right now, I'm happy with, and that was at a price, dark energy crystal price of, what was it? That was at 823 splintoshis. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the fact that splintoshis are changing, right? So one of the great things that's been done is that we have the Uniswap liquidity pool now, right? Which obviously you all know about. We talked about it last time with the incentives for the liquidity providers who are now getting paid, splitting up 274,000 dark energy crystals per day. And I don't know if you noticed since then, but crypto's been on a massive bull run of like 30 to 50%, depending on what you're looking at, over the past week or so. And here's what Here's what that looks like. So this is Ethereum, and from a week. Well, let's look at a weekly chart. Let's see here. From a week ago, we were at a high of 715, and now we're at 1100. So big change. It's like 50% in the past week, which is just insane. And the way Uniswap works is basically, unless there's other trading, anything pooled against Ethereum is going to rise or fall with Ethereum. So Wrapped Leo has risen just like Ethereum has, and dark energy crystals have risen just like Ethereum has. And the gas fees have been so high on the Ethereum network that it's really discouraged people from trading. So when we go over to dark energy crystals, we can see that this chart's always messed up. That we've had a nice little bump here. There has been some selling, which has prevented it from rising as much as it could have, but we are definitely well above where we were a week ago. So the question becomes, how much will this continue? Yeah, how much will this continue? And I think a while. And so last week or the week before, we were talking about what are the fundamental, the floor and the ceiling of dark energy crystals. And that basically has to do with the burn value of the cards versus the $2 of US dollar cost of packs. And Paul's saying he burned 5,000 of cards in the last few days. Yeah, I mean, it popped up over 1,100 splintoshis there, and you got to take it, right? if you're in the selling mood. So if we're along for this Ethereum ride and Ethereum runs like some people are saying, then what happens, right? So, I think we have a cap on dark energy crystal of about $4 per thousand, or 4,000 splintoshis, and that's because of the $2 per pack cost. So at that point, it's cheaper to buy packs with US dollars and then open the cards and sell everything and burn them and sell the dark energy crystals on Uniswap than it is to buy dark energy crystals. And Paul says, these were all cards I bought on the market and then burned since the deck price was so high. Exactly. Why not send a deck 101? If they're maxed, you shouldn't, but otherwise you should. So, just keep that in mind. We got plenty of dark energy crystals to send you. If you're doing over like 2 million, then text us first or DM us first. But if it's under that, no problem. Anywho, so how long are we gonna go along this ride? And people are throwing out crazy numbers for Ethereum. I've seen people say like this run we're gonna see 3,000, 5,000. I've seen people say 40,000 at the peak of the cycle. So it really raises the question, because the transaction fees on Ethereum are so high in these kinds of environments, it really puts a damper on the trading you can do. So, we might see prices well above that 4,000 level if Ethereum really does make these big moves. You know, because especially for the smaller players, if you have 100,000 dark energy crystals, then you know you couldn't sell it at all because the fees would eat up everything. So we might see prices that are much higher than the normal cap in a regular trading environment would allow. And Nachos is saying, now that the pre-sale land sales are finished, any figures of how much deck is owned by Splinterland devs now versus the community? I don't know, but we can do a little figuring, I guess. Let's see. We went to. Let's go to the sales shop. Land. All right, so there's 63,000 plots left. So, we can look at that, and we can look at the number of raffle tickets that are out there. Let's go to Leo Dex, tokens, raffle, info. All right. So that is 791,000 circulating. And we know 100,000 of that went to the Uniswap rewards, so that would be 600. Let's round it off to 700,000 went to pre-sale sales, and so that would be, you know, basically 700,000 dark energy crystals. I mean, some people paid with 700 million dark energy crystals. No, that can't be right. Some people paid with fiat and with other things, but I think a large portion of it was dark energy crystals. So let's see. If 9 million got me 9,000, then it would be 1,000, but that can't be right. So let's look at DC. Circulating supply. Circulating supply has gone up quite a bit. So we're at 620 million there. You can check out the rich list of dark energy crystals. You know, it's always difficult to disaggregate the Steam Monsters account because so much is tied up in player escrows. But we got what is that? How many zeros? That is basically 600 million inside the Steam Monsters account, which leaves 20 million outside of it. Yeah. So I would say the vast majority is probably in the Splinterlands coffers right now. We're talking, you know, 50 million, probably outside of the player escrows. And if we do 50 divided by 620, that is what percent? 8%. So let's round it up. So let's say 10%. Right, that's what I'm trying to do, is to separate people that own deck and hold in game. So we know a lot, you know, hundreds of millions went into the Splinterlands or the Steam Monsters account for the land sale, and we have ballpark idea of how much of that is player escrow, and that's based on, you know, how much had to have been spent for the lands. So I'm gonna say 10, maybe 15% is, you know, in the hands of players rather than in the hands of Splinterlands, the company. So that's not a lot, and you know, it's now January of 2021. If the development timelines are right, we're going to have fully functional lands, you know, Q3 or Q4 2021. Paul, no, we are not screwed. I'll get back to that in just a second. So I mean, once those go live, you know, that's not the end to the dark energy crystal costs, because, you know, there's going to be all the upgrades you have to make, and then there's going to be all the cards you have to buy. So I think the supply is going to be low and remain low. We might have some interim increases in supply as the sink or the faucet from just everyday playing plus the Uniswap rewards are entered into the ecosystem. But I think long term we're still going to be very thin on the dark energy crystal supply front. So yeah, so as far as if you're in the Uniswap pool, so you're not screwed, but yeah, I wish they would separate that too. That would be much easier to see. So this is how the Uniswap pools work. If you don't know, so when you enter the pool, you have to enter balanced assets. So if you're doing dark energy crystals versus Ethereum, that means you have to enter the same value in dark energy crystals and in Ethereum at the time you enter. As your dark energy crystals and Ethereum stay in the pool, you are taking the other sides of swaps. So somebody comes in and swaps dark energy crystals for Ethereum. They're selling dark energy crystals and buying Ethereum. That means you're doing the opposite side of that. You are buying dark energy crystals and selling Ethereum. So in the case of a general run of one against the other, you're always taking the losing side. And that's the concept that has been popularized as impermanent loss, which is a terrible name and not really accurate. But basically, it's opportunity cost. You are, as things are going lower, one versus the other, you're buying more of that, and as things are going higher, you're selling more of that. So yeah, if Ethereum rises relative to dark energy crystals, you're going to end up with less Ethereum and more dark energy crystals as a liquidity provider. Now, overall, the selling of dark energy crystals has been less than the amount of overall market rise in Ethereum. So, at least so far, and that's a large part because of the gas costs related to trading anything on Ethereum. And then when you get into the smart contract stuff with Uniswap, it gets more and more expensive. So the net result is you'll end up with more dark energy crystals, less Ethereum, but overall your market value will go up. And I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit complicated. And then on top of that, you're getting rewarded in the terms of the liquidity provider incentives of that 274,000 a day being split up amongst however many liquidity providers. The bonus thing is interesting, where it's their version of the geyser rewards, where you increase 1% on your holdings per day up to 100%. But I think you'll be okay. I mean, liquidity as far as getting in and out of the pools is super expensive right now, but in terms of actual market value, I think you'll be doing fine. If you want to throw in your Ethereum address, we can actually look it up on something like APY Vision, and then we can take a look at exactly how your impermanent loss is being affected by versus the market gains. So let me know if you want to do that. But net Ethereum pumps, then dark energy crystals pump, because the selling is not enough to offset that. All right, so Paul's volunteering his address here, so let's load it up. If my browser will work, that would be great. Let's try in Brave here. My Brave does not work well with Ethereum for some reason. So usually I like to do it in Firefox, but we'll see if it works. All right, so we view an address. And I think APY.vision has the best visualization of this, which is this right there. Okay, so current pools. So net market gains, you're up 84%. Okay. Let's see if this will actually paste. Try that again. All right, and then in terms of liquidity gains, you're down 13%. Okay, so you can see that you have gained 431,000 dark energy crystals and you have lost 0.6 Ethereum. So, if you just look at that portion, you're down $277 or 13%. But when you factor in the fact that both assets have risen, that's the net market gains side. Now you're up 854 or 84%. So net of the two, let's bring up the calculator here. You're 841 minus 277. So that's a $577 gain. And that comes out to, I don't know, what did you start with? Let's see. There's a way to look at the actual transactions. More info. There we go. So you entered with, oh, it doesn't give me an average price. But we can calculate it based on Ethereum. So you put in 1.47 ETH, which is really 2 times that. 1.47 times 2 times, oh, there we go. 1,010. So you're up basically 577 on 1010. Now, what in hindsight would it have been better just to sell other dark energy crystal for Ethereum? Yes, but you know that is the if we knew the future, then we'd all be rich. So you're up 57% net. And that does not include the additional rewards you're getting along the way. So you've gotten plots, from whenever you pooled up to December 31st, and now you're getting dark energy crystals. So overall, you're probably up closer to 100% when you factor in those other rewards. So no, you're not screwed. 20 plots at 450 raffle. Well, there you go. So you'd have to add those in, and then add in the dark energy crystals you get. Quantum just says, "What is rich? I only know poor or in debt." Most rich people are in debt, but their equity is positive. So that is something to consider. So the other thing to consider when in this Ethereum pumping environment is your market sales of cards. So over on Deck 101, anything that's above 25% of the burn rate, we sell, especially with the gold foils. That's where a lot of the funds are locked up in. And, gold foils are very slow to transact. So, it's kind of annoying. It takes a long time to build up to max levels to burn. So in the meantime, we sell them. But when Dark Energy Crystals went from 800 Splintoshis to 1,000 Splintoshis over the course of 6 hours, we ended up selling a lot of things under market value. So some people who were very quick on the trigger or had their bots set up to snipe those gold foil cards got great deals because they got them for under burn. So that's something you want to keep in mind and stay aware of if you have any cards on the market. Because we ended up losing. It wasn't a whole lot. It was like 15,000 dark energy crystals, but still, it's the principle of the thing, and it was highly annoying. So just be aware of that and manage your sales, accurately. Do you have an updated spreadsheet with the new raffle tokens of 791,864? No, but I can. Let's see if I open my Splinterlands workbook. It takes like 2 minutes to open. While that's going, there was a Happy New Year post from Splinterlands, and some good stuff in here. So the main land pre-sale, or the main land sale has started. I guess it is still a pre-sale because it's not functional yet. And it's not the mainland; it's an island. But yeah, they're going for $20 a plot, $1,700 a tract, or $15,000 per region, and it's the post pre-sale sale. Yeah, post pre-sale. So so that is live. Obviously on Hive Engine or Leo Dex, there are still plots being sold for less than that. So if we look at plot right here, it is going for still around $11. So until that supply is taken up, I don't think anybody's going to be buying, $20 plots. And in the end, I expect people, who are having the flipping mindset to be buying regions and then selling plots. And so the secondary market of the plots will be, always lower, at least until that's used up, always lower than the retail price. Hive engine prices have been sadly a lot, even under $9 per. Yeah, I mean, if you get it for $9, I think that's a deal. So keep in mind, there's always this constant, arbitrage between Hive prices and how that all interacts with the U.S. dollar and the retail price, because we have this three-cornered market kind of thing. But we are officially into retail stuff. So I've got my spreadsheet open. So let's look at raffle tickets. 791,864. So let's do that. I can delete all this stuff. Well, I won't delete it. I'll just grade out. All right. So now we're looking at 18 cents, basically. If we're looking at, this all assumes the value of the totems. So this has 200 totems at a $50 value. And epic totems at $10, rare totems at $5, and common totems at $1. I have no idea if those are right, but I think they're in the ballpark of reasonable. And if you play around with them, it doesn't change that much. So I think in that 18, call it 15 to 25 cents, somewhere in that bracket, I think is in the ballpark of fair. Now, obviously, everybody has their own expectations as to, future prices of everything, but that's my take on it, and you can do with that what you wish, I guess. All right, so originally I was saying 8 to 16, depending on the valuation of totems. So 8 was with totems being worth 0, and 16 was worth them being what I have here. So yeah, that was based on a higher number of raffle tickets or raffle tokens. And New Age is asking, what was the CSV command you used to download and where do you use it? You can use it in any channel or direct message with Gerbot. So you can do transfers, CSV, let's say, I'll just use one of mine, DEC. So that will pop up. It takes a little bit, but Gerbot will come up with a link, which you can download, and then it'll be a CSV file of all the transfers going back however far. See, there we go. Gerbot posts neil.cards.csv, and you can download it, and you can look at all my transfers, which is all in the blockchain anyway, so it's not like you're hiding anything. But a very useful command, especially if you're playing a lot of games, whether it be Splinterlands or D-City or something else. You can check all that stuff pretty nicely with that command. But no sense inviting trouble there, so I'll delete that. So yeah, that's my take on the current price or the current expected value. Now, if you are one of these super lucky people and you think you're going to get the region, it's worth $15,000 for one. But if you think you're going to get nothing, then it's worth 0. So you gotta make your own assessment there. Biden Trump getting close to being paid out. Oh man, Biden Trump has just been killing me. So for those who don't know, I created this election game, which we can see the stats of here. People put in tokens, swap that Hive against on Trump winning, on Biden winning, or on nobody winning. And the way this pays out, the way the market gets resolved is if one candidate concedes or someone is sworn in on January 20th. At this point, it's January 5th. The election was 2 months ago. Trump has not conceded, even though it's looking like he's going to lose. And the Congress is certifying or doing whatever, having their official vote tomorrow. Will Trump concede after that? Chances are no. So my guess is that we're going to go to January 20th. and then when Biden is sworn in, then the Biden wins tokens will pay out. And each Biden wins holder in that event would win 1.72, or not each holder, but each token will represent 1.72 swap.hive. If something happens and Trump gets sworn in, then it's going to be 2.54 per Trump wins token. And if neither one of them gets sworn in on January 20th, then nobody pays out, and every nobody token will win 38.67 swap.hive, which is incredible. I sold my Trump wins. I had 100 of them. I sold them to Rondon for like 20 hive total or something, and I'm still holding my 30 nobody though, because I think that is actually possible. So if we devolve into civil war, or if so, the more likely scenario I think is, so Biden wins, and but he doesn't make it to inauguration because Kamala takes him out, and he steps down for quote unquote health reasons, and Kamala gets sworn in. Then nobody's going to pay out, and and I'll make everything back on the nobody tokens. But we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and I know people are annoyed, but the funds are still sitting there. They're just waiting for the market to resolve. And this whole thing has inspired a bunch of the Hive Engine crew and myself to start kind of formalizing these kinds of operations into a prediction market, and that is coming soon. We are in alpha testing. We found some bugs that are well, not bugs, but they're like edge case market conditions that would end up with a negative user experience. So we're ironing those out. But I think we are close to releasing a beta, and I'm gonna say 2 weeks ish. I know I've said that before, but that's kind of the way it goes. So yeah, that is the story there. It's coming, and it'll be soonish. Now, back to the Happy New Year post for a second. Do you have a catchy name? So we've been going back and forth on the name. Right now we're on Double Up, but that is not final. So back to the post. We got the new Uniswap LP rewards, which Paul is getting. I cashed in all or I pulled out a liquidity pool to buy my land, so I don't really have anything in there anymore. Plot and Raffle Uniswap rewards, those are great. Raffle update. So total supply 791,864. So 52,211 prizes available. That means on average 1 in 15 raffle tickets will win something. And of course we have the spread. So this is key. Raffle drawing is scheduled to take place on January 26, 2021 at 12 Eastern, 1700 UTC. I'll post that here. So I know people have been asking, but there is a date in there. As long as your raffle tokens are held in your account in the game, they will be automatically included in the raffle, and you will receive a notification of the results the next time you log in. Please note, raffle tokens held outside of the game or that are unclaimed at the time of the drawing, such as on the Hive Engine Exchange or unclaimed Uniswap LP rewards, will not be counted. This is important. Make sure that you claim all your stuff and you move it all into the game before January 26th. And they'll do the usual random number, blockchain info, whatever, for the drawing itself. And this I thought was interesting. The next untamed airdrop card. So we're coming up with the next 100,000 milestone, and we all thought we were getting our Otter Dragon Summoner, but apparently not. Due to some issues that have come up in designing the card, however, the legendary Dragon Summoner card will need to be pushed back to the 10th Untamed airdrop, and a different card will be released for the 9th airdrop. The details of the new card will be announced in the very near future, so please stay tuned for that. Paul's getting 1,900 deck a day, so yeah, that's not bad. That's considering you put in 1,000 USD originally, that's 2% a day. That'll work. Or no, 0.2% a day. 2% would be a little excessive. But still, 0.2%, times 365, on your original investment is 73%. Okay, that'll work. Obviously, that'll change as competition enters or leaves the liquidity pool, but not too shabby. And the roadmap update. Everybody loves roadmaps. So we got land presale, raffle drawing January 2021. We have mobile app tutorial Q1 2021. That is critical. We have iTunes Store mobile app submission Q1. Guild Brawls Q1 2021. That'll be exciting. New card delegation and rental system also Q1. So a lot of stuff here happening. The big things are getting the mobile working, getting it into Apple and getting it into working with the tutorial, I think is great. And then Guild Brawls is basically for us, us OGs that are in the guild system heavily. And then, for everybody, we get the new card delegation and rental system sometime in the next 3 months, let's say. And I know Jarvie's been working hard at designing that. I don't know exactly all the details, but my impression is that it's going to be liquidity pool-esque in the sense that you're not going to be renting so much from one particular card owner or not. You're just renting a card, and it gets filled, on an ad hoc basis. So I think that's going to be really cool. And then Q2, we've got the map release, land claims redemptions, in-game management for avatars and skins, and then Q4, land expansion release. So I've been saying all along Christmas 2021 for the land expansion to be fully functional, and I think that'll be right. They might squeeze it in like October, maybe, but I'm banking on, for my own mental well-being, I'm banking on Christmas. So just very tail end of 2021. Boss fights and achievements TBD. So yeah, I think we're headed in a good place for the roadmap. And then, on the back of all this, we have the fact that crypto is just going bonkers, right? So Bitcoin is at 33,794 right now, and Ethereum's up to 1,000 or 1,100. So, I've been saying all along that, when we start to have this mania and people get FOMO, people are going to come into crypto, and some of them will be gamers, and some of them will find blockchain games, and of course Splinterlands is number one in the blockchain gaming space. So I think we stand to benefit quite a bit from all of that. It's an indirect effect, so it'll take some time for all that to percolate through, but I'm optimistic, and with sign up being easier than ever before, then I think that's all to the good. Imagine what BTC is going to be like if the U.S. gets those 2K checks. I got my $600 check or my deposit in my account yesterday, so that was fun. Let me just check here because I haven't actually looked at it since it was pending. I think it went through. Yep, bank has it as deposited, so that's fun. And because, it's me, a wife, 2 kids, I actually get 600 times 4, which is great. But I will take the 2K. I mean, don't get me wrong. 2K per would be a nice little bump to that. But, it's, I just don't understand. Joe, I will be political here for the last 2 minutes or whatever. But, I've been trying to think, what is McConnell thinking? Obviously, it's a crazy unpopular thing to block the passage of this checks. Trump wants it. The Democrats in the House want it. It's just really McConnell blocking the whole thing. So the only thing I can figure. Oh, and so I'm in Georgia, and it's looking like Georgia's going to vote Democrat for the runoff race for the senators, which means Senate control will flip to Democrats, and it'll be House, Senate, presidency, all Democrats. So they're going to get their way for the next 2 years. On whatever they can agree amongst themselves upon. And a large part of that means tax increases. So the only thing I can figure is that McConnell figures he's safe so that when the next time comes around for elections, then he'll be back into a position of power. Because and he's okay with losing that power temporarily to get rid of Trump and to exacerbate things. So didn't Trump get his way for 2 years as well? And Obama, yeah, Obama did, and that's how we got the Affordable Care Act. And Trump had a majority, but the Republicans, a lot of them hated him, so it didn't get much done in those 2 years that he had the majorities. But that's typically the way it goes. It's very reversal-ish. So if we go all Democrat, 95% chance in the midterms, one of the houses goes back to Republicans. So it's interesting. Look out for tax increases because so if we find out tomorrow that Georgia did in fact go for the Democrats in the Senate, then taxes are going up in some form or fashion. Exactly how? I mean, there are a lot of different proposals in the Biden tax plan. I don't know which ones will be passed and which ones won't, but if you are a tax client of mine, you will find out as I find out. So, and we'll do planning related to all that. That's actually a big part of my business. So there is that. There was a major other thing I wanted to talk about, and that was the fact that the OCC, the Office of Comptroller of the Currency, released a statement yesterday saying that banks could participate in crypto and stablecoins, and I think that's going to have huge effects in the economy in general, in banking, in people's involvement in crypto. But that's going to be a very long-term thing. But I guess I'll have to save that for next week because we are coming up on the end of the hour, and I know we had some technical difficulties, and apologies for that. But sometimes streaming platforms break, apparently. So it is what it is. I don't even know if so normally what's supposed to happen is that 55 seconds, 5 seconds before the hour, we transition over to the next stream, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I do know that my time is ending. So I will say thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week.